You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to rest.
Hi everyone, welcome from your Intuition Queen to a new episode of Intuitive Queens podcast. And today I have the big pleasure to have with me Linda McLean, who is an author, singer, and songwriter. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Mara. It's fun to be here in your home.
Oh, thank you. So Linda and I met at the beginning of the year through our workshop, and she's Canadian. She doesn't actually live here in London, but she's here for a while, and she's gonna tell us why in a little bit. I know you have a beautiful story to tell us, so I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about you and how you became a singer and author. And
I started writing songs late. I always wanted to write songs. I just didn't think I had anything worth writing. I thought, all the good songs have already been written. You know, no one wants to hear what I want to write about. So I was always singing, and I was in theater, and acting for me was easy. It was a way to get lots of attention, and it was fun. It was creative. It was, it fed my artistic soul for a long, long time. And I was teaching drama. I was teaching acting in schools. I was teaching adults. I was doing scene study with various groups. I mean, it was my career. I was an actor and I was a teacher in teaching acting. And then I did my master's in theater, sort of in drama therapy. So I was thinking, well, I want to do more than just teach. I actually want to help people understand themselves through this process. So I haven't really talked much about that with you.
No, exactly. Tell us a little bit, what is this drama therapy?
Well, what happened especially when I was doing scene study classes with adults or when I worked with teenagers, I discovered that the line between the imagination and reality could be very thin sometimes. And there was one specific student that I worked with who had had a terrible history. She'd been abducted by her father and taken to another country and had just been found by her mother and brought back to Canada and was going through therapy. And I guess the therapist had suggested that she come and do a summer theater class. So I was working, there's a large group of people, and this one student fit in or wouldn't. I mean, it's all about the kids enjoying themselves and being creative. So I wasn't too hard on her. But one day we were doing an improv, and she started talking about the experience that she'd had. And we all recognized that she was talking about something that wasn't really part of the improv. You're given a where and a what and a who and all that. And there was something else going on. And the next day I was contacted by the psychotherapist or her therapist, and she said, "What are you doing exactly? Because this student of mine, her patient, has just started talking in a way that she, I've been trying to get this out of her. So what are you doing?" It might not be a coincidence. So I went and I looked into it a little bit, and I realized that there was this thing called drama therapy. And I thought, okay, well, I like that. I like that idea of helping other people, because I didn't know how to help myself at that point. Didn't know how to help myself at all. I just was helping everybody else. I'm going to be a good teacher. I'm going to be a great actor. I'm going to be a great mom, and I'm going to be a great wife. And so I I'd already had an undergrad degree in literature and drama. And so I went in and I did my master's, and it was for drama therapy. My mentor, my advisor was a drama person. And I started taking these classes and doing all this research and into creativity and being an artist and what does that mean. And it was a very intellectual exercise, and it was all very, very heady and fascinating, and somehow not very, very interesting either, like fully. So I'd been creative artist already. So just becoming an academic made me realize that what I'm researching into, I actually do all of that. So part of my thesis actually became a narrative, but but it was the last class that I took for my master's degree. And the professor said, all I want you to do for this class is finish something that you began and then report on it. And of course, she gave us the way that we were supposed to report on it. So I immediately said to myself, I've written all these songs. I'm going to finish my songs. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to finish my songs. And I went about finishing my songs, recording myself, played, had to finish the lyrics. And I ended up with 4 songs recorded, and 2 of which I really liked. I was amazed that I actually wrote songs. And I performed them for that class, and I performed them for another group of friends that I had. And I walked away from that experience realizing that I could write songs, and I had to write songs. And if I didn't write songs, I was giving up on myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So how come you had never written songs, and you never written songs before, you never performed before in that way?
I had a band when I was a kid. I was studying music. I was studying voice. I did musical theater. So I was a singer. I knew how to sing. But the idea of actually writing a song that was from me was it just seemed like the craziest thing in the world. And I was afraid of doing it, because if I failed at it, I guess I would.
Failure.
Yeah, if I failed, then I would be failing at the one thing that meant, everything. But it was more diabolical than that. It was a complete sense of, I had no self-confidence whatsoever. I had no sense of my own self-worth. So even when I gave myself permission to write songs, I could only do it if it was because I was doing it for other people. So
Right.
I thought, oh, okay, I'll be true to myself, and the people that are in my life, my kids, my husband, my family, they'll be inspired by that, and they'll do things that they want. So I'll take this step for the greater good. It's not because it means anything to me, because I still didn't know that it meant anything.
It's just easier to do it for someone else than doing it for us, isn't it?
I guess, yeah, it makes it feel safer. It makes it feel like, it makes it feel like because I didn't have any self-worth, it was the only way that I could do it. It was the only thing that would let me give myself permission to move on and do it.
So what happened next? Like, you do the song, you realize this is something you need to do?
Yeah, so I started writing songs, and I started co-writing with my partner, who, it turns out, I married someone who was a pop star back in the 80s. But he'd stopped writing songs. He'd gone into business, and so that was another thing. So I thought, we can write together, and then he'll play guitar again, and he'll be a happier person because he'll be back in music. So aren't I a nice person for getting him to, help me write these songs? So we started co-writing, and he had so much experience and all these contacts. So it was just like an easy peasy thing to, I know this drummer, I know this bass player, let's put the band together, and we'll start recording stuff. And at that time, I thought, I'm writing songs. I could sell a song to Shania Twain, or I could say, I could just do a publishing deal. But it turned out that my voice recorded is really good. It's so everybody started saying, well, you sound really good singing these songs. You should just be the artist. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, you think I should be the artist? Okay, then maybe I should be the artist. I'm not doing that because I want to be the artist. I'm just, okay. You gave me permission.
Okay, but inside of you, did you actually want it to be the artist?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All I've ever wanted to do is create stuff, and through music, I used to dance as well. The acting was great, but music has been. The first time that I heard Neil Young do Heart of Gold, I almost died 1,000 deaths. I realized, and I'd always been listening to music, but it was for some reason him with that creaky voice, and that just the intensity of it just blew my mind. But yeah, I'd always wanted to do music, but couldn't do it for me.
So how how did that make you feel when people finally gave you the permission that you should have given yourself? What was the process for you internally? What happened?
Wow, that's a big question, Mara. Okay, I'm going to be as honest with you as possible.
Yes,
I was shitting bricks. I was so fucking scared. Excuse my language.
That's all right.
Okay, good.
Our subscriber can take it.
I was so panicky that I had another out of body experience. I attached myself to the greater good idea even more than I had just writing the songs and recording them. And what happened very quickly was like I started writing songs and I thought, okay, I got to keep this going. So I thought I've got to find the world has got to give me permission. So I did the things in business that you do as an indie artist. I made a one sheet. I had my demo. I had, started doing my little third person Linda McLean is blah, blah, blah kind of thing, and had a picture and all that stuff. And then I ended up meeting some people at labels and learning what labels wanted. And it opened that door for me. So I had this label in mind, and I was so lucky I got to be at the right place at the right time. And I met the guy who ran the label that I wanted to be on in Europe. He just was walking down the hallway and I knew what he looked like. And I had in my bag my demo and my one sheet. And I stopped him in the hallway and I said, I'm Linda McLean and I have a record that I think you're going to love. And he said, oh yeah, really? Okay, well, let me hear it. Okay. And I pulled it out. Do you have somewhere I can play this? And I'm trying to keep myself calm.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't believe that I was actually doing this. And I look back at that and I go, there you go, Linda. Like, that was you promoting yourself. Like, why couldn't you get that message then? But I still didn't know. It was like something else. I'm doing it for the universe. And anyway, so he gave me a record deal and I started touring. And I couldn't afford to bring my band. All my songs were recorded with full band, but I had to go. So I had to learn how to play guitar and sing my songs solo, and I had to break through that barrier, which still haunts me because I still feel every time. I mean, when I'm at home playing the guitar, I'm fine, but when I, pick it up and I'm around someone who can play the guitar, I'm like,
after you've been touring around by yourself with the guitar, you still have that feeling?
Yeah. I guess I put on my actor role or whatever and just pretended that I was fine and didn't matter. And people love the way I play guitar. It's like, oh, I love that, just straight ahead playing. Or, it's all good. It's all, and it's always about the voice anyway. Really, that's the most important thing. So my voice was great. So
what are your songs about? Because I know your songs are very personal and they're about your life, and I'd like for you to tell us a little bit, because I know that is going to resonate with a lot of people watching.
Oh yeah. Well, the first breakthrough song for me was Who Will Say? And that was a song I thought it was about dancing in the moonlight. And then I talked it through with my husband, actually, and he was saying, like, yeah, that's fine, but what's it really about? And then I started crying because I remembered my sister when I was 8 years old. My sister, who was 6 years older than me, left home in a really angry way. She had a fight with my mother, and maybe I was older because I think she was like 15, almost 16. So I was a bit older, but still I was left alone in this household that was really toxic. And she was my last support against these parents who really hated one another and that sort of thing. So I started bawling my eyes out and wrote this song. The lyrics were just, and the first few times I sang it, I couldn't even get through it. But that was a very personal moment in my life, the departure of that really important person. And it resonated with so many people. So a lot of my songs, it turns out, are about just little moments, just little decisions, and then hoping as a lyricist to bring it into the larger perspective. So I've got this song, Two Steps. It's about being told to be quiet as a child, and especially as a girl, that you don't have as many rights. And so that's my feminist song.
Which is something that it's very common If you're a girl, if you have a brother and the brother does more things, and you're a girl, shut up and be quiet. And yeah, it's something that unfortunately I do. Yeah. I do. I have an older brother, and and I do. My mom has always told me, you're too rebel. You know too much. You're a girl, so you need to do the house things, and you can go out and do nothing. That kind of things. And for me, it was always like, no.
Yeah.
If I do my bad, he has to do his. I'm not doing his. But you're a girl. Well, I don't care. You do his. That kind of things. But
I
that's
got that message. Oh, he's so
she
busy.
Grew up,
Well, I'm busy. Yeah, but he's in school. I'm in school.
Yeah.
I'm 6 and he's 16.
yeah. But I understand where that comes from. My mom was the fourth child of 5 and 2 boys.
It was their way, the moms in those days. That's for sure.
And and I know that kind of that's the reason why a lot of women don't ask, a lot of women don't do, a lot of women don't step up, because there is a thing for which women have to stay in the box.
This was my anthem, and this became very popular, and I have a feeling it broke up 1 or 2 marriages as well, because songs can do that. Because I'm in the last verse. Now I know they're all just lies, and I don't believe them anymore. And I'm 1 step from leaving home, 1 step from, I can't remember it. I need my guitar.
I wish you brought your guitar. You could have
2 steps from heading home. 3 steps, I'm on that floor and out of control. Counting all the times I do exactly what I want with all my bones.
Woo! Oh my God, I'm loving this. Okay, so
I did 2 albums, and I started the 3rd, and so I'd written all these little acoustic songs, and I hadn't really, with the band, they didn't want to do, they just didn't work for the band. So I did an acoustic record. And while I was doing that acoustic CD, I started writing books. And there again, I'm like, I've always wanted to be a writer. And me? No, I'm not a writer. I just, to say that I was a writer took me probably 6 years. I'm writing a book. Oh yeah, I'm writing. But you don't really want to read it, because I'm just learning how to write and writing on my life, but whatever. And so there was that whole thing happening to me again. And anyway, now I'm a writer. I am a writer, I'm a songwriter, and I'm all those things, because I'm writing a book that has taught me that I have to sit in my own body and in my own skin. And at this age, after having done all the things that I've done, I finally recognize that that's what life is about, is actually just doing the things that make us happy and make us glow and elevate our energy, and all of this, doing it for the greater good. And I'm going to inspire my children. Yeah, it might inspire my kids. That's great. But I gotta take responsibility for the fact that I'm writing for me.
Yeah.
I'm singing for me. And that's really what I'm so passionate about. And that's how we discovered one another as well. It's this journey is, Linda, be the most important person in the room, and know that, and live your life that way. And I'm so passionate about that message. Of course, I want to share it with everybody.
Yeah, of course. So tell us about this being more the most important person in the room. What does that mean for you? Where does that come from?
2 questions. So where it comes from is me selling my big house in the country, moving away from the life that I built as a songwriter, and moving to a new city with my husband, who had an opportunity for a new interesting position that he wanted to take. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. New life. I can have nothing in the way of me writing my books. And then I got there and I couldn't settle down. I couldn't stay. I felt so alienated and out of my body. But we had this little apartment, and we had this big house with all this furniture. It was up for sale. And when I said, this long weekend, we should rent a van and we should go out and get some furniture and make our place feel more homey. Maybe that'll help me feel more at home here. So I rented the van and we were just going, and I was like, I don't want to go. I can't go. It's raining. It's late. It's too far. I don't want to go. And Andy's like, yeah, we're going. Get in the van. We're going. This is done. So I got in the van, and while I was driving to that house, I had this epiphany, and it was like, oh my God, I do not know who I am without my house and without the car and without my songwriting career and without my kids who are all grown up now. And that thing that I had been trying to resist since I'd moved to the new city was like, at me.
Yeah.
You do not know who you are. You are the most egocentric person in the world, because everything that you are is attached to all those people in your life. Who was I? And I felt like this dark, I call it the dark tea time, or like Dante's Inferno. That's the best way to explain it. It was like going into my own hell, but like the dark side that I had never gone in. And like so you're generous doing everything for everybody else is actually the most selfish thing in the world to be. So I'd done enough self thinking, I guess, and written enough that I thought, I got to figure out why. And serendipity, always serendipity, the universe providing again, brought me to this workshop, and the workshop leader made the statement halfway through. It's like she's doing all this lovely body mindfulness, and she's a dancer, and she's so great. And then all of a sudden she says, you know, you're the most important person in the room, and if you don't, you should.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, that was rude. Did anybody else find that like, that's a bad thing to say? She must not have said that. And it was so bizarre. So at the end of the workshop, I went up to her and I said, so that thing you said about being the most important, she's like, oh yeah. You know, when I have these clients that come in to my studio and they're all burdened down and they're feeling lost, I just say that to them and it lightens them right up. And I was, okay.
Is that true?
Well, and so now to your second question, I started writing out like, what is so wrong with me being the most important person in the world? Why is that so bad? And all this stuff started coming out about my birth and just my whole beginning of my life, and just how I never wanted to take responsibility for anything. And then it occurred to me, the fact is, Linda, you are the most important person in your life, and you cannot be anything but. And it's a provocative way of saying it, but it's the actual truth.
Yeah.
Because if I wasn't here, Mara, if I was out here, there would be no room because I'm not in it. And I could that was just such a bizarre concept for me. And now I get it. And it's just a little fact. So it's like a switch that's flipped in my brain that I was always trying to find, and it's changed everything. So what it's actually manifested in for me personally is I've written a book about it, The Importance of Being Important. I've been working on it for 4 years. The book has been teaching me, like all my songs were healing me. The book has been teaching me about this. And it's a process of remembering. You are the most important person in the room. How are you now in this moment? If you were the most important person here, what would that be like? Yeah. Oh, it feels like I'm breathing. Oh, it feels like I'm balanced. It feels like I have this sense of being in the entire
universe. Yeah.
Universe, yes. And it feels great. And I feel great. And wow. And I just feel great. And so that's, personally how it works for me. And this book is the story. I've written a very personal story, hoping that it resonates with people. I know it will resonate with people because it's very personal, and that's personal stories resonate with us, right?
They do
with me.
Yeah.
And really knowing that it's a process that we learn from. And then what else can I say about that idea? Well, I suppose I should just say that I really, I'm going to sound like a megalomaniac again, or a preacher, but I really think it's the way that we're going to save our bacon in this crazy polarized time. It's become even more apparent to me that we've got the left and the right fighting one another, and we've got people in the left who are like, you're not left enough, and they're fighting with one another, and people on the right. And I mean, when we think about politics, and politics seems to be this, the social milieu that we're living in terms of news media anyway, it's like, it's all political. So if you just take that as an example, it's like, I can't blame anybody else for the choice that I make, or, I can't force anybody else to vote.
Yeah.
So we need to stand in our own beingness, dark and light. We can't be just light.
Yeah.
We also are dark. We can't be.
Yeah, we need to work through our shadows to get to a point where we can be light.
Yes, and that's always part of the process of whatever it is, this path that we're on, this, this being the best person that we can in this human experience, and being enlightened, and, all of that. It's always, the shadow is always with us.
Yeah.
That other side of the thing. And the shadow can be fabulous as well. In fact, here I go on a whole other subject, but I've been teaching creativity workshops. I do something called Women's Music Weekend.
Yeah.
And I do a lyric writing workshop with people, and I really take them into this sort of depth of that. The imagination is that unconscious part of ourselves, can be pretty dark and scary for people. Yeah. So I get them in there safely and get them sort of encountering stuff in there, and then find a way to bring it back out to write about it, hopefully as lyrics, as we're doing Women's Music Weekend. So this has been a lot of my learning has been watching my students work through these and be so brave. And sometimes I think, wow, I would never be able to do what that person just did. They're so incredibly brave. And I realize that I'm so grateful that I've been able to help them do that and that sort of thing. But it's really taught me a lot about the holism of this experience of being in life. So here's another, can I go on a little bit more? Sorry.
Of course.
Okay, so part of what I was doing so I had a bad first marriage, 2 beautiful kids. And my ex-husband was not a bad person, but he was a bit of, anyway, we were young and we didn't really, I do go into it a little bit in the book, but not a lot, because it's not his story. It was really me. I was not ready for that position. So I had a friend who was studying spirituality, and she introduced me to all this stuff. And I started using that spiritual path to help me have even more of an out-of-body experience. So suddenly, I know why I'm unhappy. Because I am not enlightened enough. So I need to be that enlightened person. And she's somewhere out there. And if I just read enough books, and I'm vigilant, and I stay on this path and keep, self-knowing and growing, and, not attaching my ego to anything, I'm going to find that person that I'm hoping to become. So I've been doing that for 30 years as well, which was another reason when I had this Dante's Inferno experience in the van, I was like, I'm supposed to be enlightened by now. What the heck? I'm the most egotistic person I know. How does that happen? What did I miss? So that spiritual journey I had been using to keep myself. It was like, I read it once. It's like super spiritualization.
Yeah.
Right? Like this out of body. So once I started being the most important person in the room, it's like, I'm in my skin now.
You went back home.
I'm home. Yes. Oh, that's why I love you, because I'm going on and on and on. But I know there's this long story that I need to tell. And then Mara, you go, yes, it's this. It brought you back home. And that's everything that I wanted to say. That's exactly, we should write a song together.
Okay, let's do it. You teach me, because I don't know how to do that.
Oh, it's cinchy.
Okay.
It's cinchy. I can teach you in 2.5 hours.
Okay, that would be a dream come true.
We could have a song.
Yeah. Okay,
absolutely.
Let's do it. Okay, so all this comes from, because you told me your childhood and feeling neglected by your parents and all that, so which brought you to a lot of different situations in your life, and also in a way kind of gave you the courage to get out and be creative and express yourself in a different way.
That's very true. That is the gift of being a neglected child. I just was fiercely independent, and that did give me a lot of the strength and courage.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
How do you now use your experience? I know you wrote a book
Mm-hmm.
that you are about to publish.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about this and this courage that you got because you had to. Because you had to kind of come out of that situation, because I know this resonates with so many people, and I know because I know that's how it is. Like being an intuitive and creative coach, I know how creativity is a healing tool more than anything else. Yes, you do feel happy when you're creative and you express yourself, but really you are healing yourself when you do that. And I heard this from a lot of people. One of my friends, Lisa Rack, which is one of the first few episodes of the podcast, she tells us how writing the book about her story and her brother being killed was actually a healing process for her. She only realized while she was going through the writing process. So how this is for you, and what is this book that you wrote have been helpful for you in this healing process for you?
Well, as I say, it's brought me back into my skin and bones and breath, which I've needed to be in. And it's made me feel that I'm not alone anymore. And that's given me great, great courage. So, I mean, this is a big admission, but even as the mother of 3 kids, I never thought I deserved the love of my children. I always thought I was screwing it up. And I know there's a saying, it's like, the best mother is the failing mother, because, you want to let your kids grow into their own people. But I really felt just unlovable by everybody. And so people always had to prove to me secretly, but, I was always waiting to have proof of them not loving me or whatever. And that's all complicated, but that's the overarching theme for me was I don't belong anywhere and I'm not worthy. And, that's pretty common. So that knowing that I am the most important person in the room means I know I'm responsible for all my choices. I am responsible for this breath, this statement that I'm making right now, where I am in the world, the experiences that I'm having, I can choose how I respond to those. And that's empowered me completely. And it's also made me feel like I'm part of the world. So for the first time in my life, I can honestly say I'm part of the human experience. And that's given me humility. It's given me strength and purpose and a clarity that I was always waiting for someone else to give me permission or validate the thing that I was trying to do and all of that stuff. And I'm not that anymore. And I really feel like I can say I'm the center of the universe, and it doesn't sound like I'm an egotist to myself. It sounds like, yes, I actually am, because I only have this one life. I really do. I mean, I may be reincarnated a zillion times, but I don't remember that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, bring it on. If it happens, awesome.
Time to make the most of it, right?
Right here, right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is so beautiful. So, tell us where we can find you if we want to work with you, if we want to buy your book and listen to your songs. Tell us.
I have a great website. It's lindamclean.com. And I'm sure
all the details will be below for who is watching on YouTube and in the show notes for who is listening.
Great. I'm at Linda S. McLean on Instagram. I'm at Linda McLean Writer, I think, in Facebook. Yeah, you can find my music online all over the place. It's Linda McLean Music. Linda McLean Music.
You need to listen to her, and not because she's a friend of mine, but her songs really go deep to your heart. I promise you.
Oh,
I wouldn't say that if I didn't think that, but yeah, so true.
Thank you. I am going to be doing an online songwriting workshop in a few weeks. Yeah. Yes, you can do that. Oh my God. My guest. And I'm excited about that because I have convinced myself that I can teach songwriting in 2.5 hours. I can get your song out of you in 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So it's my
challenge accepted.
And yeah, you can join me there. That would be awesome. I can't remember what. Oh yes, Women's Music Weekend. I have that.
When is it?
It's twice a year now, possibly 3. I think we're going to up it to 4 soon, but it's in Canada. So
okay,
come to Canada. And it's
good
in
way
Ontario.
To have a trip there, right?
That's right. It's an amazing weekend. We keep it to about 50 women. And there's 3 of us, 3 songwriters, and we get women who are afraid to sing, and afraid to write songs, and afraid to play in a band, and all the things that we were terrified of as songwriters.
But all the things that as children we were dreaming of.
That's right. We make dreams happen.
Yes. Amazing.
And yeah. So yes. And here you can find me on here. You can listen to this one over and over again.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I'd like you to give whoever is listening an advice.
Love yourself more than you ever imagined. Love yourself till you hurt. Love yourself so radically, and make love a word that means the action that you apply to yourself. And be the most important person in the room, because you already are. That's that.
Ah, beautiful. This is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Linda, for being here, for being on my show. This has been so beautiful.
Well, I hear I get lunch, so that's cool.
Yes, in a minute. And thank you so much for everybody watching and listening. If you like the episode, please give us some stars. If you want to get in touch with Linda, please have a look at the show notes. All the details will be below. If you want to learn to write a song and to sing a song, choose your girl. And thank you so much for listening and watching. I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Your mind is clearer than before. Your heart is full and wanting more. Your future's at the door.